I request the choir, led by Mr. Salvino, to lead us in prayer. Kindly rise. A heartfelt thanks to the melodious choir for their beautiful and uplifting rendition. We will now listen to a brief message from Dr. David M. Smith, Professor and Chair, Finance, University Albany, State University of New York.
Hello, I'm David Smith. I'm a professor of finance in the Mastery School of Business at the State University of New York at Albany. Albany is a city of about 100,000 residents, and it is the capital city of New York State and located roughly 3 hours drive north of New York City. The University at Albany is one of 64 campuses in the State University of New York system. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm grateful for the invitation from Dean Suresh. I want to start by congratulating all of my colleagues at St. Aloyius for your being named a deemed university by the Indian Ministry of Education. Also, congratulations on your conference today. I think the topic is a very timely one in this contemporary world. I've been thinking a bit about automation in finance, and being that your topic is the interaction of humans and robots in the workplace. In my own workplace, we use technology to a great extent in the educational process as we're trying to equip our finance students for the work world. And particularly, we emphasize spreadsheets and statistical software packages so they can conduct their quantitative analyses. On the other hand, students are increasingly using generative AI as what we consider to be a shortcut in the learning process, and we believe that it actually hinders their ability to work. So there is this paradox. Technology can be overused, relied upon excessively, and so we struggle to help our students understand the nuances of that paradox. The main issue I'd like to talk to you about today is a particular use of technology in the finance industry. And this comes about because in many countries the population is aging rapidly, and there is a dire need for financial planning services, services related to saving, investment advice, tax planning, estate planning, things like this. At the same time, there's a shortage of skilled financial planners who offer services at affordable rates. So enter robotic process automation, RPA, and it's in the form of robotic advisors, robo-advisors. And what robo-advisors are web-based applications that help with financial planning without human intervention. And after a client inputs personal information like age, gender, employment, marital status, and their risk tolerance and retirement goals, out comes saving and investment advice. In the basic form of robo-advisors, the features stop there. Some more advanced ones also include actually conducting training.
The elaborate keynote address of Professor David will be aired post the inaugural session, with the other keynote speakers, Dr. Yatin Jokel, Ministry of Finance, Mauritius, and Dr. Father Ranjit George S.J., Professor, Loyola College of Social Sciences, Thiruvananthapuram. We will now proceed with the traditional lighting of the lamp, a symbol of knowledge, wisdom, and the dispelling of darkness. May I now request Ms. Lavina, the Management Secretary, to lead the dignitaries to the dais for the lighting of the lamp. Kindly rise. To officially welcome and introduce our dignitaries and share a brief overview of the 8th International Conference, I am pleased to invite Dr. Rajni Suresh, Dean, School of Business and Management, to deliver the welcome address and give us bird's eye view of innovation in industry 5.0, 6.0 and beyond, building business models for the future.
Thank you, Megan. Distinguished intellectuals on the dais and those attending online, Chief Guest, Mr. Sandesh Kutino Prabhu, Chief General Manager at Mangalore Refineries and Petrochemicals Limited, Mangalore. Speaker for the first technical session, Professor David M. Smith, Finance and Collins Fellow, Mastery School of Business at University at Albany, State University of New York. Keynote speaker, Dr. Father Ranjit George, Assistant Professor, Department of HRM, Loyola College of Social Sciences Autonomous, Thiruvananthapuram, and speaker for the second technical session, Dr. Yadgin Jokun, expert on disaster risk reduction from Mauritius. Guest of honor, Dr. Ronald Nazareth, Registrar, St. Aloyius Dean to be University, Dr. Father Kiran Kot, our Director here at AIMIT, HOD, Dr. Beena Days, conference conveners, Dr. Rubina Wright and Dr. Justin James, conference participants, speakers, dear colleagues and my dear friends. It is an absolute honor to stand before you as we gather at the inaugural function of the 8th International Conference hosted by the Department of MBA, School of Business and Management, St. Aloysius Dean to be University, Mangalore, with the theme Novation 2025, Innovations in Industry 5.0, 6.0 and beyond, developing business models for the future. The task before me today is twofold: give you a bird's eye view of the program and welcome our distinguished dignitaries, guests and speakers. I try and be as brief as possible with both, difficult though it is. I will commence with a brief overview of the program. The theme for this international conference is a subject that sits at the frontier of our collective future. Industry 5.0 and 6.0 and the evolving challenges that the developed and the developing world must now confront. While much of the global discourse focuses on the opportunities that these revolutions present, today this conference invites you to reflect on the challenges they pose, both to the world's most advanced economies and to emerging economies like India. Industry 4.0 gave us automation, the Internet of Things, big data and cyber-physical systems. It was about machines, talking to machines. Scary. Industry 5.0, however, is about collaboration, not just between systems, but between humans and machines. It's about bringing back the human touch into advanced manufacturing, about making businesses not just more productive, but more purposeful. While 5.0 is unfolding around us today, the seeds of Industry 6.0 are already being planted. Industry 6.0 envisions a world where the line between digital, biological, and physical is increasingly blurred. We gather here not only to explore technological revolutions, but as we are a Jesuit university, to ask deeper questions. Who benefits from these technological revolutions? Who is left behind? And how can nations like India harness these waves of change to build a more inclusive, a more equitable and a more prosperous future? Industry 4.0, as I said, was defined by automation, AI and digitization, trends that promise to increase productivity and efficiency. Yet, in many emerging economies like India, its benefits were unevenly distributed. The promise of a digital dividend coexisted with fears of technological unemployment, growing inequality, and digital exclusion. Industry 5.0, however, reintroduces the vital component, the human being. It envisions a world where humans and intelligent machines work together, where automation is not about replacement, it's about replenishment and augmentation. This reorientation is especially significant for India and similar economies where the demographic dividend, a young and rapidly growing workforce like you, must be leveraged and not displaced. Industry 5.0 and 6.0 are not mere technological milestones. They are socio-economic turning points. Industry 5.0 and 6.0 offer powerful tools, but it is our values, our policies, and our collective imagination that will determine whether these tools build a more equitable society or deepen existing divides. For India and emerging economies like us, the goal must not only be to adapt to the future of work, as we often tell you, but to shape it. And that is your duty, my dear research scholars and students, in a way to create a dignified employment, sustainable prosperity, and inclusive innovation. Let this be our shared endeavor. The Department of MBA now brings together academics, research scholars, and industry professionals from across the country and overseas for the 8th International Conference to explore the canvas of possibilities offered by Industry 5.0 and 6.0. It is indeed my pleasure to provide a brief glimpse of the sessions forming part of today's conference. Professor David M. Smith, Finance and Collins Fellow, Mastery School of Business at the University at Albany, State University of New York, will in his technical session speak about automation in finance, robo-advisors, and the role of Industry 5.0 and 6.0 in shaping the future of financial services. And this will be telecast via Zoom platform after the inaugural session. Dr. Father Ranjit Jog, Assistant Professor, Department of HRM, Loyola School of Social Sciences, Autonomous Thiruvananthapuram, will, in his keynote address, speak about the philosophical foundations of research as we enter into the eras of 5.0 and 6.0 and how our research must be guided by deep questions of purpose, value, ethics, and being. Dr. Yapkin Jokim, in his second technical session, will speak on international trade in the era of Industry 5.0 and 6.0, rethinking global value chains, sovereignty, and cooperation, and this will also be telecast via the Zoom platform. More than 40 research papers, all co-authored by 2 or more authors from across the country and the globe, were received at the conference, covering themes like Ghibli art, human-machine collaboration, meta-learning, and lifelong agility. These papers will be presented by academicians and scholars, both national and international, in 6 separate tracks using both online and offline modes, and more than 125 certificates will be distributed. To encourage research among young student business management graduates, the post-noon session will also provide a platform for 25 budding student researchers from the Department of MBA AIMIT to present their research findings. This is about the program. I will now deliver the welcome address. To begin with, it is my pleasure to extend a heartfelt welcome to the chief guest of today's inaugural function, Mr. Sandesh Coutinho Prabhu, Chief General Manager HR at MRPL, an alumnus of NIT Suratkal with a degree in chemical engineering. Mr. Coutinho Prabhu has distinguished himself not only academically but also as an accomplished athlete in volleyball and basketball. He proudly represented Karnataka in the Republic Day Parade in New Delhi as part of the NCC. Over a remarkable career spanning over 3 decades, he has served in various technical roles at MRPL and now leads the human resource function there. A very, very warm welcome to you, sir. May I request our director, Dr. Father Kiran Koth, to hand over a sapling as a gesture of welcome. Thank you, Father. Thank you, sir. A special welcome to Dr. Father Ranjit George, Assistant Professor at the Department of HRM at Loyola College of Social Sciences Autonomous, Thiruvananthapuram. Dr. George holds several leadership roles, including Director of Loyola Extension Services, Bursar, and IQAC Coordinator. An alumnus of Loyola College, Chennai, he completed his PhD in Management and Labour Studies from the prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. Additionally, he holds an executive postgraduate diploma in data analytics from TIS. A very, very warm welcome to you, Father. May I request our registrar, Dr. Ronald Nazareth, to hand over a sapling as a gesture of welcome. Thank you, Dr. Nazareth. Thank you, Father. A very warm and special welcome to our esteemed international speakers, Professor David M. Smith, Finance and Collins Fellow at the Mastery School of Business, University at Albany, State University of New York, and Dr. Yatkin Jokum, a renowned expert in disaster risk reduction from Mauritius, who will be joining us online for this conference. Dr. Ronald Nazareth, the registrar at St. Aloysius Deemed to be University, is both a talented academic and a skilled administrator. His presence brings intellectual depth, scientific methodology, and rigor to our international conference. A very warm and cordial welcome to you, sir. Our director, Reverend Dr. Father Kiran Koth, continually motivates us to excel, manage multiple tasks, and remain dedicated to academics and research through his tireless energy, hands-on problem-solving approach, and exceptional leadership. Father, your humility and compassion have deeply impacted the hearts and minds of the countless teachers and students who have walked through these portals. A heartfelt welcome to you, Father. Our conference conveners, Dr. Rubina Wright and Dr. Justin James, have dedicated months of meticulous planning, tireless effort to ensure the success of this conference. Their flawless execution and attention to detail are truly commendable. A heartfelt welcome to both of you. A warm and sincere welcome to our esteemed conference participants and speakers who have gathered in large numbers, united by a shared passion for advancing knowledge, fostering collaboration, and shaping the future. Lastly, a very, very special welcome to my dear colleagues and to you, my dear students. It's vital for us to come together, exchange ideas, and explore innovative solutions to the problems we face. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. A warm welcome to you too. And thank you for giving us the bird's eye view. We are privileged to have with us today a distinguished personality, a chemical engineer who has made a significant impact at various capacities at MRPM and is currently heading the HR department. He is none other than our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Sandesh Coutinho, CGM HR. It is with great pleasure that I now invite our chief guest to share his insights that will undoubtedly inspire us all. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Respected Dr. Aloyius, Father Kiran Koth, Dr. Ranjit George, Dr. Ranjini, Dr. Veena, dignitaries of the dais, academicians, students, research scholars, good morning. I forget this. I would like to thank the organizing committee here for giving me this opportunity to speak. It's always a humbling experience to speak in the dais of any Aloyius institutions, because these institutions have groomed a lot of individuals, including me. In plain words, St. Aloyius played a very, very vital role in where I am today in life. So it wouldn't be right to get into the topic without speaking about the institution. So at this institute not only gives utmost importance to academia, but also focuses on overall development of students. So to state some facts, I have told a lot of facts, but when I joined NITK, out of the 40 students, out of the 180 Karnataka students, 40 of us were from St. Aloyius. Not only that, because of Aloyius, I could go to Republic Day parade, I represent Karnataka and Goa. I could do my glider pilot trainings. I could do a lot of things, other than academia also, no? A lot of things. I could brush up on my sports, and I went on to play, represent volleyball, be the team player in volleyball and basketball for other institutions and many other teams in the years to come. So I thank Aloyius. I'm proud to be an Aloysian, and a big thanks to my alma mater. So there is a very famous quote from John Beckley that says, people don't plan to fail, but people fail to plan. In the cusp of this, where we are entering from industry 4.0 to 5.0, I think this is a right time. The management of AIMIT has organized this session to create awareness among the young generation or the next generations who are going to take the patents from the previous generation as we come into this change. So, how can we adapt to this change that is going to come? I think everybody knows what is Industry 5.0 and 6.0. I'm not going to major details on that. So, what will happen? Basically, what will happen? What will happen from Industry 4.0, 4.0 to 5.0 to then future 6.0? Basically, more technology, more intelligent machines, which will help us to ease our life. Our life will become easy because machines will do whatever they are supposed to do, and humans are supposed to do what we are supposed to do. Sometimes what happens is when a lot of changes come, people get little fearful. I always ask how to eat an elephant. Anybody knows how to eat an elephant? It's always one bite at a time. Okay? And that is how we have to approach any change that's going to come. So what is humans and machines difference? Humans create. This was what used to happen today. Humans used to create, machines used to work, humans used to come back, analyze, try to find out whether there is a problem, do some predictive analysis, do some corrections, and machines used to work. This was Industry 4.0. What will happen in future is humans still create, machines work, machines analyze. Machines understand what would be the predictive corrections that are required. They will give those inputs to the humans, and humans will do the corrections. What is Industry 6.0? Humans create, machines analyze, also possibly get intelligent to correct themselves. In simple words, these are the two changes that are going to come, and a lot of work is happening in this area. Was it there before? It was there before. Today the sensors and all have advanced so much, so it is easy to have an online correction very easy. So, why this is important and how it is going to impact total life? What is the difference between human and other animals? So I would say that humans should be innovative. Humans should concentrate only in creation. If machines can do our job, life will become very easy. What is the difference between humans and animals? Humans are the only animals that can see the future, dream the future, plan, strategize, and achieve the future. This college, this auditorium, this podium was also somebody's dream some point of time, right? And that is where we are good at. So we should get free ourselves, get out of the clutter. What I used to do always, we tell you some of the stuff what I tell is in my college, if you are doing a lot of things what machine can do, don't become a glorified typist. When we do a lot of things what machine can do, we can become glorified typists. We can be busy all day around and become. So for example, let us say there is an MIS system. People download the system into an Excel. They do a lot of jugglery on the data and generate a report to show to the management. Correct? lot of work involved. But if you can put a program into that MI system, and based on the output what you want, the system itself will generate the report automatically. Now, lot of time saved and lot of efforts saved. And this is what is the improvement that's going to come. So, because of this human ability to strive for what to say improvements continuously, we want to have a better life continuously. Industry has moved from handicraft in 1700s to what we are today. Industry 4 is, you have seen machines taking a lot of things. ChatGPT helps a lot of students. And also something, you know what happens. So sometimes these are the, we have come.
minimized and social and environmental values are respected. And the industry 6.0 has been it's a kind of hypothetical or theoretical concept. It will change the manufacturing world's entire scenario if it applies to industries. Numerous people have been scared of, as it has already been highlighted by Mr. Sandesh Coutinho in his speech, scared of losing their jobs due to complete automation in industries. So it is required while introducing any new industrial revolution and the business models that the number of jobs should always be more than the job loss. And as we know, all these stages, all these phases of 5.0, 6.0 and beyond, all these stages definitely offer increased efficiency, flexibility, reliability, personalization, sustainability, and resilience. However, we need to remember this also, they also pose ethical, social, legal, and security challenges. Therefore, it is crucial to develop trustworthy and responsible AI systems that can balance technology and humanity and foster collaboration and innovation among various stakeholders in the industry and society. So therefore, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our organizing committee and our conference collaborators. Various people have helped us in this international conference of ours for their untiring support in making this conference a reality. Your dedication and commitment are truly appreciated. Thank you for joining us at Novation 2025. Let us embark on this journey of discovery and innovation together, developing business models that can shape the future. So all the best to all the participants and the research scholars and those who are presenting the papers, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Father, for once again reminding us that in a world of uncertainty, the way we work, interact, and live is constantly changing, and the only certainty is an interdisciplinary future. We are honored to have with us Dr. Ronald Nazareth, the very first registrar of St. Aloyius deemed to be university, who is the pillar of academic administration and the backbone of the academic process. It is my distinct honor to invite our guest of honor to address the gathering.
Honorable Director of AIMIT, Reverend Dr. Kiran, the keynote speaker, Mr. Sandesh, the speaker of the day, Dr. Father Ranjit George, the Dean of School of Business and Administration, Dr. Agni Suresh, Head of the Department, Dr. Beena Dias, all participants of Novation 2025 and their students. It is truly a moment of pride to St. Aloysius deemed to be university, where the School of Business and Management has come out with a program where we are trying to bridge the gap between the industry and academia. We started this institution way back in 1880. Till 2007, we were in the affiliated system. 2007, we became autonomous under Mangalore University, and by looking at the way in which we conduct the program, maybe the academic excellence, what we have, the innovative practices, and the holistic approach, what we have at our institute, UGC MHRD elevated our status from the autonomous college to the deemed to be university in last 2024 January. It is the recognition by the Ministry of Higher Education at the central level for the institute who are already running as the university, giving them the reward. With this great reward, our responsibility also has increased, having a lot of multidisciplinary activities, as the director was mentioning about, having more employability for our students, and hence this is the requirement, and this type of program, Innovation 2025, the looking for the industry changes from 5.0 to 6.0 are the true purpose for having bridging the gap between industry and academia. Therefore, I congratulate the department for this innovative conference they have today. The Department of FA is known for innovations. Recently, when we become a university, they have developed a curriculum which has both the blend of fundamental knowledge as well as the global trends. Both are blended together. Here, the students are not just taught for the jobs, but they are made as leaders for leading the society and industry. And the training ecosystem is developed in such a way that global best practices are practiced here in the institute. Same time, local needs are never neglected, a blend of both. Therefore, once again, for this, I congratulate the department for this type of blended mode. And because of this, I can say MBA program at St. Aloyius has become not just most sought after in our region, but they have set a benchmark in the whole state with respect to the program offering is concerned. Therefore, I would like to congratulate the committed and visionary leadership of the director, Reverend Dr. Kiran Kaur, and the dean, Dr. Rajni Suresh, head of the department, Dr. Veena Dias, and the whole team for building this Aloyius brand, building this AIMIT brand, and because of that, MBA programs are very famous in our region for this. Therefore, bridging that gap which I was mentioning about is also taught a lot at the UGC level. Yesterday, if you have seen the website, they have come up with the new regulations for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. UGC has come out the gadget notification. In that, it speaks about how exactly skill can be incorporated in the education system. 50% at the undergraduate level, the credits can be earned through skills. They have come up with a new program called Apprenticeship Embedded Degree Program, where the student of 3 years can go for 2 semesters, be there in the industry and come back with the experiential learning. One more new idea or the program they are proposing is recognition of prior learning. Generally what happens here is, if a student is there in one institute or university, in between want to go to one more university, first year BBA, can finish in one institute and go to second year BBA to another institute. Now it need not be. A person can remain in the industry, get experience of the industry, and when the institute assesses what exactly learning has taken place there, which is not a formal education, the institute assesses and puts it to a level, straight away the student can be taken to the second or third year of undergraduation or second year of post-graduation. This is called recognition of prior learning. Therefore, the industry academia bridging is well taught even at the UGC level, and therefore this type of program where the academia is talking about the industry innovation is very apt, and we are moving in the right direction. When we look at this industry changes as a Jesuit institution, as rightly said by Dr. Rajni Suresh earlier, we believe that the true progress in industry is not by just increasing the smarter technology, but in how the technology improves the human life. Therefore, we dream of workplaces where machines will help humans, not replace them. We believe in technology, it should be our partner, not our boss. Therefore, all the time at university we say, every new innovation must be guided by empathy, ethics, and a sense of purpose. Over 145 years, St. Aloyius have been shaping men and women for and with others in these lines, and we want to raise the leaders who use the knowledge to uplift life, no doubt, and hence we want to create a better world. Therefore, as we deliberate in this line, I warmly welcome you all to our university. As you explore this serene campus, I invite you all to visit our main campus too. We have a beautiful chapel there, which is painted by a single person, Brother Antonio Moschini, which is world known. We have a beautiful museum. We can explore that. We are coming up with new buildings there, wherein we are planning from next academic year, this coming academic year, some new innovative law programs, BBA, LLB honors for 5 years, LLB honors for 3 years at the School of Law. We are planning to start 4 engineering programs, engineering in computer science and engineering with AML, information science and technology, electronics and communications. And you know, recently NAC has bestowed on us A++ grade to the university, which is the rarest case which can happen. This has given us an opportunity to go for online programs which we are offering in offline mode, similar online program at the UGC portal, which is the rarest of the thing opportunity which can happen. We are dreaming for that too in near future. And therefore, when I congratulate the organizer here and I wish the School of Business Management and all the participants very best. May this conference inspire us not just to innovate, but to build a more humane, compassionate society for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is true that in the MPA program at AIMIT, tomorrow's leaders are trained today in a systematic blended mode and also by incorporating skill-based education. As we come to the end of this inaugural ceremony, it is my honor to invite Ms. Lavina Nightingale, Management Secretary, to propose the vote of thanks.
Acknowledging support is the first step to lasting innovation. Good morning to one and all present here. It is my honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks at the 8th International Conference, Novation 2025, Innovations in Industry 5.0, 6.0 and beyond, Developing Business Models for the Future, hosted by the Department of MBA. First and foremost, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Sandesh J. Kutino Prabhu, for taking time out of a busy schedule to join us today and for sharing such a valuable insight that set a meaningful tone for this conference. Your presence truly elevated this occasion. Thank you, sir. I now request our Registrar, Dr. Ronald Nazareth, to present a memento to our chief guest as a token of our gratitude. Thank you, sir. We are deeply grateful to our guest of honor, Dr. Ronald Nazareth, Registrar of St. Aloyius deemed to be University, for his unwavering encouragement and vision that inspire excellence across the institution. Thank you, sir. A sincere thanks to our director, Dr. Father Kiran Koth SJ, for always being a strong pillar of support. Your vision and leadership continue to guide and inspire all that we do. Thank you, Father. We thank Professor Dr. David M. Smith for sharing his message and goodwill, which added warmth and significance to the event. A special note of thanks in advance to our esteemed keynote speakers, Dr. Father Ranjit George S.J., Professor, Loyola College of Social Sciences, and Dr. Yatin Jokin, Ministry of Finance, Mauritius, who will be addressing us shortly after the inauguration. We also extend our thanks to Dr. Rajni Suresh, Dean, School of Business and Management, for her constant support and commitment to academic excellence. Thank you, ma'am. A warm and respectful thank you to Dr. Beena Dias, Head of the MBA Department, whose steady presence and guidance continue to strengthen our academic initiatives. Thank you, ma'am. A heartfelt thank you to all the participants and guests from across the globe. Your active involvement and insights are what truly make this conference a vital platform for knowledge exchange and innovation. To all the teaching and non-teaching staff, thank you for your invaluable support, both behind the scenes and throughout the day. Your efforts are what keep the wheels turning smoothly. Let us carry forward the momentum we have built today into the rest of the conference as we explore and shape the future of business and industry together. Once again, thank you one and all.
Thank you, Lavina. To conclude this inauguration on a proud and celebratory note, may I request you all to kindly rise for the University Anthem. With this, we come to the end of the inauguration ceremony. We extend our heartfelt thanks to all the dignitaries, guests, and the audience for gracing this occasion and making it a memorable one. May this inauguration mark the beginning of a successful and inspiring day ahead. Thank you, and we wish you all a wonderful day.
The opportunity to speak with you today. I'm grateful for the invitation from Dean Suresh. I want to start by congratulating all of my colleagues at St. Aloyius for your being named the Dean University by the Indian Ministry of Education. Also, congratulations on your conference today. I think the topic is a very timely one in this contemporary world. I've been thinking a bit about automation in finance, and being that the topic is the interaction of humans and robots in the workplace. In my own workplace, we use technology to a great extent in the educational process as we're trying to equip our finance students for the work world. And particularly, we emphasize spreadsheets and statistical software packages so they can conduct their quantitative analyses. On the other hand, students are increasingly using generative AI as what we consider to be a shortcut in the learning process, and we believe that it actually hinders their ability to work. So there is this paradox. Technology can be overused, relied upon excessively, and so we struggle to help our students understand the nuances of that paradox. The main issue I'd like to talk to you about today is a particular use of technology in the finance industry. And this comes about because in many countries the population is aging rapidly, and there's a dire need for financial planning services related to saving and investment advice, tax planning, estate planning, things like this. At the same time, there's a shortage of skilled financial planners who offer services at affordable rates. So enter robotic process automation, RPA, and it's in the form of robotic advisors, robo-advisors. And what robo-advisors are web-based applications that help with financial planning without human intervention. And after a client inputs personal information like age, gender, employment, marital status, and their risk tolerance and retirement goals, out comes saving and investment advice. In the basic form of robo-advisors, the features stop there. Some more advanced ones also include actually conducting transactions for portfolio stock bond rebalancing. Among the benefits, robo-advisors can automate tasks that would otherwise require human intervention. And robo-advisors often can produce financial advice that's quite credible for something like a quarter of the cost of a human advisor. They can also process large volumes of data quickly, meaning that a client doesn't have to wait for human intervention, human analysis, when conditions change, either in the client's own situation or market conditions. Robo-advising can eliminate human error by following predefined rules and processes. And one form of error often comes in our propensity to respond emotionally to markets as opposed to using rationality. It also can help providers meet regulatory requirements. Also, robo-advisors can take care of the more basic and mundane tasks of financial advising, leaving humans to offer customized tax and estate planning assistance. There are problems that come with robo-advisors, though, and the key one is garbage in, garbage out. If a client's risk tolerance, for example, has been mismeasured, then a robo-advisor is going to produce a faulty set of recommended investment actions. And the trouble with this is that it's very difficult in many cases to recover from major errors that have been introduced into the investment planning process. Also, humans intrinsically have a difficult time trusting robotic advisors, and regulatory hurdles include the need for robo-advisors to be registered as investment advisors in many countries, a process that is very time-consuming and costly. In the little bit of time I have left, I'd like to familiarize you with and really recommend a paper written by Milo Bianchi and Marie Briere. It's forthcoming in the journal Management Science. And the title of the paper is Human-Robot Interactions in Investment Decisions. And what they do is examine 80,000 French households that participate in employee savings plans in France, as I said, in France, between 2017 and 2021. And those 80,000 households consist of 20,000 that were offered a robo-advisor and the household subscribed. So they're receiving the advice. And the authors refer to these people as robo-takers. Another 20,000 started the registration process but didn't complete enrollment. So they're not getting advice, but they clearly thought that there was likely to be some value in it. They're referred to by the authors as robo-curious. Another subsample were offered but declined the service, and a final subsample were not offered the service at all. I'm going to focus on the first two subsamples just in the interest of time. And something about this tool, it's like the one that I was referring to that in India, for example, the SEBI does not allow robo-advisors to actually conduct transactions, but instead stop at the advice-giving stage. And this particular robo-advisor mirrors that one. So some of the questions that Bianchi and Briere addressed, first, is the user's engagement in their portfolio affected at all for those who are robo-takers? So it's a pre and post kind of analysis. Do robo-takers outperform the robo-curious in terms of investment results? What's the likelihood that robo-takers actually do respond to advice? And to the extent that there is any response, are they getting it wrong relative to what a strictly mechanical approach of following the advice of the robo-advisor would result in? So these are the principal questions, and here are the answers. Is engagement affected? Yes, it increased by 30% for robo-takers. This is viewed as a good thing. It's viewed as taking more responsibility for one's portfolio. With respect to outperformance by robo-takers versus robo-curious, 2% a year, which if we compound that is a massive advantage to actually receiving the advice. What's the likelihood that they actually take the advice? It's really dependent on market conditions rather than it's dependent on their age or marital status or any other demographic characteristics. And finally, what is the net benefit to actually following the advice mechanically versus using human intervention? Well, it turns out that human intervention costs the participants, these robo-takers, roughly 1/40th of 1% per year. That's viewed by the authors as very modest. So the conclusions of their study are, first, the robot was a valuable tool. Secondly, human intervention actually did not impose a particularly high cost. So in essence, the robot and their human clients were actually served as a reasonably productive pair during this period of the study. So I wanted to share that with you. This paper is only a single example of many that illustrate why your conference topic is a timely one. The best journals are clearly taking notice. And I want to wish you a richly informative experience today. And thank you very much for including me and inviting my comments. All the best.
Our sincere thanks to Professor Dr. David for taking time off for sharing his thoughts and experience. Our next speaker, Dr. Yatin Jokin. a PhD graduate. Excuse me. We move on to our next resourceful keynote speaker, Dr. Father Ranjit George S.J. Professor Ranjit is associated with the Department of Human Resource Management. He holds multiple leadership roles, including Director of Loyola Extension Services, Bursar, and IQAC Coordinator. Dr. George is an alumnus of Loyola College, Chennai. He earned his PhD in Management and Labor Studies from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TISS, Mumbai, and also has an executive postgraduate diploma in data analytics from TISS, Mumbai. Over to you, Father.
Good morning. First of all, let me congratulate St. Aloyius becoming autonomous from autonomous to deemed to be university. So, second, I would like to congratulate you for organizing this great conference today, Novation 25. Third, let me express my gratitude for the organizers to invite me to this conference, especially my dear great friend, Dr. Justin. Distinguished Dean of the Institute, PhD, Head of the Department, Dr. Veena, other dear faculty members, research scholars, and my dear students. I am happy to be here today from Trivandrum to Mangalore. I feel at home because this is also another Jesuit institution. We share the same legacy. The topic of my sharing today is philosophical foundations of research. You might be wondering, at least some of you will be wondering, why this topic when we are discussing Novation 2025, especially when we are discussing the business models, industrial revolutions 5.0, industrial revolution 6.0, and also emerging research models or business models. What is the relevance of this topic? Any idea? Do you find or do you feel these topics correspond and complement each other? Or is it an out of the blue topic? A new topic which does not relate to each other? So the inaugural session, I think it set the tone for our discussion today. We have heard so many pertinent questions. So first we have the inaugural keynote speaker has told us what is the difference between Industry 5.0 and Industry 6.0. What's the difference? Can we just recall? So fine differentiation he has made in industrial relations 5.0. What is happening? Humans create So I should make some clarification before I operate. That's why that's fine. Yeah. What happens in industrial revolutions 5.0? Humans create, machines work, and humans analyze. Right? That's what he has clearly articulated. And what is happening in industrial revolution 6.0? Humans create, machines work, and machines analyze. So what next? Then he has also asked a very pertinent question. If this changes continues. As Dr. Ejin mentioned in the inaugural welcome address, there will be technological disruption, there will be digital divide happens. Some people will benefit, some people will be out of the scenario. And Mr. Sandesh has also raised a significant question of significant observation. Many people are afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of change. Radical, disruptive changes. Many people are afraid. Are you afraid? You are the people waiting to enter into the challenging roller coaster era. And this technology, we do not know where it is leading us. And what is the major fear he has articulated for all of us youngsters was to sustain in this roller coaster labor market era, whether we will be employed, where there will be a gainful employment for all of us. How many of you think, or how many of you are confident that you will be comfortably placed in the industry even after Industry 6.0? Because everything is changing drastically. Today we say about 5.0, tomorrow we'll be talking, or today itself we are talking about 6.0, and it will be 7.0, 8.0, like Windows different versions or Apple's computer or Apple mobile phones. So it will be changing drastically. How many of you feel confident that you will be comfortably placed in the labor market? Or maybe it is easy for me to ask, how many of you are afraid that you will become obsolete in the coming days? Can you raise your hands? Can you raise your hands? You are all comfortable, because some of us, even in the academia, one of the safest place, I often feel that I become redundant if I do not continuously update myself. My knowledge is not adequate enough to communicate to the youngsters, because knowledge is radically changing. I need to compare and be competent with what the changes are happening outside. My dear friends, if you want to be relevant in the continuous changing world, we need to be competent. All of us know that. What is a competent? How do you understand the competency? What are the different elements of competency? Anyway, all of you are management students, I hope so, right? And from the time you lunch here, you will be hearing about the word competency. How do you understand that word competency? Very simple one. No? When I tell you, say because we all knew about it. Because we have an acronym called ASK. 3 different components of competence. What are the ASK? So basically, you should not become a monologue. I know you know things. Don't be afraid. Be confident, because I'm also a Jesuit from another institution. I'm also teaching postgraduate students, so I know the vibe of the students. Since I am a stranger, you might feel sometimes reluctant to speak, but don't be reluctant. A stands for attitude. S stands for skill. And A stands for knowledge. Right, you got it. Now you became confident because you knew it. I just need to fill the blanks. So that shows we need to be competent at different levels. Knowledge level, that will be our cognitive level, our thought process. Then affective level, that is attitude level. That is affective level, attitude level, we need to be competent. And third one is at the level of skill, that is cognitive levels. If you are becoming competent at all these dimensions or at all these levels, you will be definitely relevant whatever changes happen. So in that context only, I am trying to introduce the role of philosophy, though we don't discuss elaborately in the academic world. or in the industrial world, because we do not have time to deliberate detail on this one, because change is very radical. We do not have time enough to recall the wisdom of the past. In that context, only we are deliberating what is the role of philosophy. I will give you only a brief outline of these things because this is a vast area. I will not be able to talk to you in detail, even if I stay here for 2 days. That's only framework I will give you. If you do not understand, kindly let me know. We will interact and I will clarify. What is the role of philosophy? What is philosophy? I have written there. It's basically it's the love of wisdom. The love of wisdom, a pursuit of wisdom, truth and knowledge. In the olden days, philosophy was considered the tune of all disciplines. Whichever disciplines you study, if you have a good knowledge of philosophy, then if you are deepening your knowledge in the field, in the realm, finally you will become doctors of philosophy. That is what doctors in management, or what we say in brief, we will say, whichever discipline you deepen your knowledge, which you are making an expertise, or you are making a deeper search, you will become doctors in philosophy. All of us are, who are mastered and who have journeyed in the realm of research, finally awarded doctor of philosophy. So it is a pursuit of wisdom, a pursuit of knowledge, and pursuit of truth. Then, what is the role of research in the realm of philosophy? How does research complement or correspond to philosophical world? Any idea? What is the role of research? What is research? Study deeply about a topic. Right. Good. You are right. Thank you for answering from that side. What's the role of research? We have heard a lot of discourses or deep discourses in the inaugural session. One of the questions raised was, if all of us are using mobile phone and if the world continue to produce mobile phones, what would be the burden that production creates to the earth on earth? If we are taking up that question, we need to understand that one. So what will you do on that one? We have to investigate on that one. What is the implication of that one? We deeply investigate on that one. Then we have to describe what is happening. We have to also explain what is happening. We have to also make prediction what is going to happen. Finally, if possible, we need to control on that. So research, in a way, help us to understand a reality in a deeper dimension, in its deeper dimension, help us to describe that one, help us to explain that one, help us to make certain predictions, and if possible, make some control. How many of you are marketing students here? All of them study marketing, or only a couple of them? Few of them. Yeah, but for all of you, all others, I hope you are familiar with the world of marketing. The people who have studied on marketing will be able to help us to understand the topic in a more deeper manner. So what is marketing? In a sentence, if you want to say about marketing, what would be marketing? We have studied a number of definitions. But if you want to summarize that one into one sentence, one definition, one operational definition, how do you explain the concept of marketing? What is the functional aspects of marketing? One aspect is creation, right? Creation of products. Then communication, delivery of product. We have to fine tune a bit more. I am happy that you have given me a right directional definition. Creation, communication, and delivery of superior value in order to capture value from the market. Very good. Sound knowledge. Then my question is, we have heard in Industrial 6.0, humans are creating, machines are working, machines are analyzing. And there was also a situation about Terminator. Machines becomes more intelligent than humans. Then what would be the role of humans in Mars? Emotions, because we find the robots are also becoming intelligent and also emotional beings. And you might be depending. Sometimes I read in Facebook and all, many of the people are depending on robot chatbots. Because whatever emotions you communicate, the robots are able to decode your emotions and respond to you in much more empathetic way than your friends and relatives are able to respond to you. Yeah? Am I right? So if this situation comes, and in an era, machines becomes more intelligent than humans, what would be our role? I find the significance of research in that dimensions. In the world of data analytics, machine might be able to fetch a lot of intelligent cues from the markets and give us suggestions. And machines might be able to create, machines may be able to communicate much more effectively than all of us, and machines may be able to deliver superior value to capture value from the markets. But then what is our role? I think the role to take intelligent decisions, we have to retake. We have to communicate and convince the world that we cannot leave technology for a ride, or a roller coaster ride. The implications of technological change, what would be the consequence of that when we have to do research and we have to take appropriate decisions based on that. We have to interpret the data we are getting from the markets. We have to interpret the data we are getting from the society. Thirdly, we have to make critical questions what our engineering department raised. What is the consequence of this technological development, technological disruptions? Some people are benefiting from this one, some people are left out. And if humans are gradually run out of all these plethora of engagements, what would be our flight? So this will be some of the complementary questions we can look at and ask. So I will give you an overview of the lens or framework through which we can look at this reality. That is a philosophical framework. So what is the role of research? I will just articulate once again. Discover new and interesting information or entertainments. What is the biggest industry in this world? Lucrative industry in the world. What would be the lucrative industry in the world? Research and development. All these companies, including Apple, which flourishes in the world globally, they make a lot of researches. If you fail to make appropriate research, if you fail to invest on research and development, all the firms who have neglected those aspects have run out of the markets. They have become obsolete. We have found that the companies which were Fortune 500 companies 20 years before, many of them are not in existence today. Maybe 5 to 6 companies might be in existence. New companies have come to the market when they have conquered the markets because they are extensively invested on research and development. So that becomes a market, and education also becomes an area of research, and also it's also area of entertainment, information to entertainment. That's why it's called the era of edutainment. If any of the faculties fail to entertain you, they will be out of the industries very soon. Gone were the days we had a lot of securities, government used to pay us. Now government is privatizing everything, and if you do not deliver and if students reject us, we have to be out of the marks. Now new FIUGP platform is emerging, which gives a critical threat to all the institutions which do not play well or deliver well. The students who join in one department, they can go to another department in 1 year. The students can take courses from any department. The students can change programs in the same institutions. The students can change the institution after 1 year. The students can change the universities. All these things are there. So if there are no takers, the teachers cannot sustain. Relevance of the teachers also becomes irrelevant. In the technological era, all the informations are in your fingertips. If you give a right prompt to ChatGPT, you will get better information than your teachers, what your teachers give. So all these things gives a lot of threat to us. So it is time for us to understand the cues from the society and respond constructively and proactively to those cues promptly. So another role of research is finding a solution to an important practical problem. When we are talking about this disruptive changes in the labor market or in the society, what are the problems raised by this technology changes? People thought work from home is an easy option. They could engage in other works also. Travel can save a lot of times. But what is the consequence of work from home? Does it create more problems or reduce problems? We have to look into different aspects of a reality and decode the fine nuances of that reality to respond constructively and proactively to those realities. Because many of the problems becomes problems because we are not prepared to resist those issues. We are either part of the problem or we are part of the solutions. If you want to find solutions, we have to look deeper into the realities, deeper into the phenomena what is happening around. So what is the role of philosophical foundation or framework in the role of research or in the role of understanding the changes in the society? It gives us a framework. It helps us to do right researches, to understand and comprehend reality. It gives us the right lens. What is the role of lens? We have heard about different colors of lens. If you are using an yellow lens to look at the world, the reality will look at yellow. If you do not have a right lens, you will not be able to get the right picture of the reality, because the philosophy will give us, or philosophical framework will give us a right lens to look at the reality and understand, comprehend and respond effectively to those changes. It represents the means to which researchers construct knowledge embedded in data. We said the technology is intelligent to get the data, because we know that wherever we go and whatever purchases we make, even we go to hospitals, even if you travel from different places to different places, all this will become data. And all this will be converted to intelligible data. So we have to make it is furthermore intelligible to make appropriate decisions based on our data, the data embedded in reality. So what are the philosophical lenses through which we will be looking at the reality? It is a very well-ordered framework. I will not get into the deeper dimensions of that one, but I will give you an overview. Later, those of you who are interested, please explore, because your cognitive level will be sharpened and your analysis, your understanding and your interpretation of reality or data will be more sound. So we have something called metaphysics, ontology, cosmology, methodology, logic, epistemology, axiology, aesthetics, and ethics as a philosophical framework. But I will not get into all those things, but I will just take a couple of them. Foundational framework which encompasses ontology, epistemology, axiology, and methodology. These are the 4 philosophical concepts we will be using in our research. I hope part of your postgraduate students studies, all of you are doing research, right? Dr. Justin always tells me I have so many people to guide, and we have also research scholars, doctoral students here, and postdoctoral students, and those of us who have completed PhD science, and we know the criticality of ontology, epistemology, methodology, and axiology. How many of you have heard these terms ontology? How many of you have heard the term ontology? I'm not asking the faculty members because part of their doctoral studies they have to definitely deliberate on that. How many of you have heard about epistemology? Methodology? Yes, all of you. Then axiology? Anyway, all of us are familiar with methodology. If you want to understand what is methodology and what methodology contribute to the arena of research, we need to understand the terms ontology and epistemology. From ontological and epistemological framework, the methodological dynamics or dimensions emerge. Axiology is the most simple one. Axiology is the ethical dimensions. We will look into those things a little more details. Philosophy, fundamental framework, metaphysics, methodology, and axiology. Under metaphysics, we have cosmology and ontology. We are not talking about cosmology because that is altogether a different arena. It is not very much relevant to social research. We will be talking about methodology and epistemology because the way we know about reality, and axiology also will be trying to look at this. The metaphysics, the fundamental question is what is reality? In metaphysics, we will say about being. Being as being. Though the term is a bit abstract, it only talks about reality. What is reality? Then methodology and epistemology helps us to know how we know the reality, what we want to know. And axiology is what ought to be. This only a DD framework will get it detailed into the dynamics as we go. In metaphysics, the study of real or study of truth. And in axiology, what ought to be when you are taking up a research, when you are taking up a research on drawing, what should be the parameters we have to be mindful? When we are developing a new medicine, what should be the parameters we have to be mindful? What would be the ethical standards? What ought not to be? We still discourage researchers to experiment on humans, right? Even with respect to cloning, we are not very optimistic, or we are not encouraged. So there are ethical standards. When you are doing research as students, can you tell me what are the ethical delimitations you are bound to do? Some of the ethical delimitations or parameters. When you are writing a research paper, when you are writing an assignment, is there anything? Plagiarism. Plagiarism is blindly copying from somebody else without acknowledging the sources. Acknowledging the sources, adapting that one, we can use it, legitimately use it, but copying without giving credit to the author or the person who has toiled a lot to create that knowledge is not ethical. So those things, we have the parameters clear to us. So when we are talking about metaphysics, I told you we will be looking at ontology. Ontology means what is real. Epistemology means what is truth, and axiology means what is lying. We will get into details as we proceed, so I don't explain now here. the nature of reality. When we are talking about nature of reality, we are talking about ontology. How do we know about that one? Knowledge or reality, that is epistemology. Which are the methods we are going to adopt to know more deep about that reality is methodology. And what is the ethical standards we have to follow when we are undertaking some researches, that is axiology. So I hope you got some framework about philosophical framework, ontology, epistemology, methodology, axiology. Let's see how much we can throw light on each of the aspects. So in a research paradigm, the ontological question we'll be raising is, what is the form and nature of reality? What is the form and nature of reality? If somebody asks you to give us the nature of reality, what would be your response to that? For example, a question about this flask or jet. Is it real? Is it real? Yeah, there can be different positions on this one. Some people say this jug is independent of the researcher, the knower. This is existing in outside. Even if I do not speak here or I do not stand here and take it up, this is a reality existing here. Do all people agree with that one? Can I comprehend in that way that is real reality? Understand that reality in totality? Do I understand that reality in totality? There is also another viewpoint. We'll be talking the technical terms we'll explain later. There are a viewpoint which states that reality do not exist if I am not here as a knower. I am figuring out that reality in my mind. Therefore, that reality exists outside. That is another philosophical position. Later we will find a philosophical position making a blend of these two views, and another paradigm which questions on all these philosophical paradigms. So what is the nature of reality? That is the question from which I started. And second one, epistemological questions. What is the relationship between the reality and the knower? That's what I said. If reality is independent of me, or the reality is dependent on me. That's another philosophical paradigm. You got it? There can be two different positions. One position says reality is independent of the knower. Another position says reality is dependent on the knower. We cannot poo-poo on any of these positions. These positions have got its own meanings, its own relevance, because people have done enormous amount of search on that one and they have produced knowledge and the world has accepted those philosophical positions. The next one is methodological questions. How can the researcher go about finding out whatever he or she believes can be known? We know that, or we believe that we can know about some of the realities. But how can you make a sense of this reality? That's a critical question. Then the axiological questions. What is the basis of judgment of values and observance of research ethics? We have just talked about that one initially. So therefore, this philosophical framework becomes a critical aspect of your search within which your research is conducted. Crucially, you need to ensure your epistemological and ontological assumptions are consistent with your research designs and methods used. Without this, it is unlikely you will generate trustworthy and useful research findings. Now what we do, due to lack of time in our master's program, we bypass ontological dimensions, we bypass epistemological dimensions, we just directly dive into methodological dimensions and reuse knowledge. And we do not know how this corresponds to the area of wisdom. How does this correspond to truth, and how how can we validate this knowledge? Without ontological understanding and epistemological understanding, if you are taking a research design and methodology, you will often make a lot of confusions, you will make a lot of mistakes, and you will not be able to justify your research. But for the postgraduate program, we have to bypass many of these things because we do not have ample amount of time to deliberate on this. Now we look at the ontological dimensions. We said it is talking about the nature of existence or reality. The fundamental question is the one which I raised in the beginning. Is there a single objective reality? Or is reality constructed through human experiences and perceptions or perspectives? Is there any single reality? Is there any single reality, or is it reality constructed? That's a question we have to deliberate and grapple with and make sense of it. Is there any single reality? No or yes?
Yes.
Yes, there is a single reality. Or some of you, do you believe that is there any reality constructed by human beings? By the knower? Reality at times is constructed by the researcher of human beings. So we have to grapple with both sides. A view of the nature of reality, whether it is external or internal to the knower. That's what I asked you in the first questions, whether that judge is independent of me or is it dependent on me. External or internal. External means that is independent. Internal means that is dependent on me. Do you believe in an external measurable world, or that reality is subjective and changes based on social interactions? These are the questions we have to grapple. If you do not grapple these positions and take a position in your research, you will be confused and you will confuse all guys. At the end of time, you may not be clear about what is the knowledge you have produced. How will you validate this knowledge? Let me honestly acknowledge that until I have gone to Data Institute of Social Sciences and attended the fundamental courses, I did not have much clarity on this. I have studied my Masters of Philosophy from Aloyius 2 years. I have also done my Masters from Aloyius in Social Work, Personnel Management and Industrial Relations. Even though I had some kind of quality educations, some of the fine nuances I was not aware until I went to Data Institute of Social Sciences. And now I realize the value of that one and I try to communicate. That's why I thought it is good that I come here even in a limited time and interact with you and throw light on some of the fine nuances of philosophical paradigm. Even if you do not get into the ontological and epistemological clarity, we will not be able to proceed with methodology because this is dependent or interdependent with each other. So in ontology, we have two different positions. We cannot say that this is the best, the other one is that's best. First position is realism. Realism states reality is independent of the knowledge, mind independent. This is the first time I am giving you the technological term. Or the other one, reality is dependent on human mind, is a position on idealism. We have already established reality, external and internal. Now we are talking the technical term for that one. If you are telling that reality is independent of human mind, we can know independently, we can observe, we can empirically understand, comprehend, describe, explain, predict and control, then we are in the realistic positions. Idealism is just opposite of that one. The object of knowledge is in the mind. If you do not comprehend this one, in your mind you will not be able to understand that one or that reality doesn't exist. So the question I already asked you, do you agree that reality is independent of humans? No. That is a question I want to ask because since I have already explained, I bypass that one. So the realism, again we will be looking at the shades of realism. First one is realism talks about mind independence, which is objectivism. You can objectively know the reality outside. many of us said that it's possible. I don't deny that it's possible because we are in the research process, we have to depend on all these types of philosophy of faith. Then there is a concept called monism in realism, which states truth is one. I am looking at that jug as a reality, and Father Nilesh also is looking at that reality. And both of us are able to correspond to our understanding, our descriptions, our explanations on that jug. And we say that we have the same explanation, we have the same descriptions, and we can say that truth is one. That is monism. Do you agree that truth is one? About truth? Is it one? One truth? Like one God?
Subjective.
Subjective. Okay. Could be subjective. We will come to that position also. Then absolute reason. A step beyond that.
So sir, one question.
Yeah.
If I say Earth is revolving around the sun.
Yeah.
Now, is it absolute truth because we have got enough evidences and so on?
Yeah.
Can I say this is my perception or my internal reality, external reality? Where does it come under?
Yeah. These two positions you have to grapple with. One group of people will say what you have observed and what you have given is absolute truth because that is generated through empirical data. Another group of people will say we cannot agree with you, that is only your perceptions, but there could be other side of reality, there could be other kinds of truth. Because we were initially talking about heliocentric world,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Then we had later a lot of discussions, deliberations, and finally you have come to this position now. This position also could be challenged.
Until it gets challenged, this is the reality.
Until it is challenged, you can believe that one. And you have to also give some freedom for others to believe in the other positions. Unless you say that truth is one. And there is only one absolute truth. If you are following that one, you can say that it's the truth. Nobody can question you because that is empirically proven. But if you are open, you also need to look at the reality from the other side. They have also some kind of logic. Initially, I would say the position of idealism is very difficult for us to understand, accept. Because I cannot say that jug is not there. If I am not here, that jug is not there, I can't say. Because all of you are here, even if I am not here, you will be seeing that jug. That jug will be existing. But that is a primordial position they have, the idealists had, later they have reformed. So that position we will be able to understand and accept it in a bit more open manner. And some of the people in the research, they are taking only the idealistic paradigm, the different forms of idealistic paradigm. We will come to know that one, then you will be able to understand that one in a bit more deeper way. Sorry, I didn't talk about idealism. Idealism talked about mind independence. I think it is very clear for you now, because I don't want to talk about that one. Idealism also talk about pluralism. There are as many truths as there are as many minds out there. I'm just example I'm asking you, all of you are students of Aloyius, and what's your name?
Manoj Fernandez.
Manoj Fernandez. If I ask you to describe on Aloyius and your department, you will be giving me one version, right? But if I am asking you what's your name? Trupti, will you be, if there were time I would have asked you to describe and I would have asked, nothing else exists. Can you accept that one? None of us can accept that one, that's why that is rejected philosophy. But they have found an alternative to idealistic proposition which you will be grappling in your research methodology, which is known as constructionism. The presence of other people and presence of other reality, outside reality is also accepted in this position, constructionism. We have something called social construction of reality. Cooley's looking glass self. All these things are there. These are all part of constructive paradigms. So constructionism in simple ways, it is idealism minus solipsism. I told about solipsism, only my mind exists. That is an extreme position. So in summary, what is ontology? Ontology is talking about objective reality with a realistic perspective, holds that there is an independent reality, independent of the knower. The other position of ontology is idealistic perspective, which is a reality, as you said, is subjective. Manoj said it is subjective, and they have adopted the paradigm called constructionism, which assumes that reality is the product of social processes. We cannot bypass social processes from understanding the reality, even in the understanding that jug. If I ask you to talk about that jug, many of you will give me different observations and different shades of reality. Some people will tell me a jug full of water. Some people will say a jug almost full of water. Some people will give me the frame or the physical nature. All those things are possible. For management students, when you are doing research, you have to grapple and understand. When you are describing a workplace reality and preparing a report, what would be the position you are going to take? Whether you are going to describe the reality as it is, or you are going to get into the deeper realm of reality and unravel what is hidden. That's the question we need to raise. Now, got a picture of ontology. What is the reality and different positions? Epistemology is a bit more simple, which says what is the relation of the knower with the reality. One position is positivism, which says objectively we can measure the reality. The other position is interpretism, which says we cannot just know the reality, we have to consider the social construction, the world around the reality, in order to understand the reality. For example, I would say, some of you, after completing your course here, will be better placed to the labor market. Some of you will have a lot of struggle to get a decent, gainful employment. What is the secret of that one? Is it very explicit? That student has got a observable reality, that student has got good grade card, stood first in the class. Will that student can assure employment, gainful employment? So there are multiple factors around that one. There is an interesting observation by Granovetter, who says, it is not the meritorious people often makes a breakthrough in the labor market. This is one of the insights I also developed from my research studies. I studied on employment prospects of postgraduates in Kerala. All those people who pursued generic postgraduate studies. I also was safe to the findings of Granovetter. One of the findings of my research is related to that. He says, it is not the meritorious people who often makes a breakthrough in the labor market. Then who makes a breakthrough in the labor market? That's one of the interesting area. I encourage all of you to read on that one. Though we say there is a lot of differences and inequalities in the world, if you understand some of the fine nuances of labor markets, without any cost, any financial involvement, we will be able to bridge the gap. All of us have got the same opportunity and potential, whether you make use of it. He says the strength of ties. The strength of two ties are there, strong ties and weak ties. He says about the strength of weak ties. The strong ties are the people whom we encounter in our day-to-day engagements, your family members, your close friends, maybe your teachers. But the weak ties might be the people who will be at a random time you can encounter. Maybe in a conference, maybe in a workshop, in an industrial exposure, during your research. Why these weak ties becomes very critical? The finding says the strong ties will give you the similar type of information. which all of you will have. But the weaker ties might be able to pass you some critical information which is not available to your strong ties. In the labor market, you have to also study this job search theory. You have to read, which states there are many meritorious students or job seekers are in the labor market, but only a few are going to make breakthrough. And even one side there are meritorious students, other side there are a lot of vacancies in the labor markets. What is the secret of that? So that's why I said reality is not as simple as we see, as we perceive. There are deeper dimensions. If you do not take into account of those things, you will be bypassing that one. Epistemology questions how we come to know what we know. How do we gather valid knowledge? Is knowledge objective, discoverable through observation and measurement? If you say that one, discoverable and measurement, then it is positivism. If you say, is it subjective, constructed to interaction and interpretation? It is subjective, interpretism. So the positivism and interpretism. First one is realism, idealism, then we have constructionism. So in summary, what is the framework of ontology and epistemology? Ontology talks about realism. Reality lies outside, independent of the novel. Other people say reality is not independent, mind dependent. The epistemological position you are going to take, if you are taking the realistic perspective, you will be taking empirical approach, data questions. Your questionnaire you will be using, survey method you will be using, you are generating data. And the positivism. Knowledge is measurable, observable, and describable. Interpretism, you cannot just state the reality as it is, you have to take into account of multiple factors. There will be reality as many people are there, as many minds are there, because it is subjective. An example of free, I have already explained about the JAG. I bypass this one. So what is positivism? Positivism in simple terms it is verifications. If you are able to verify certain things at a matter of fact, looking at that one, it is positivism. Only verifiable claims are there. Are you true? Do you agree with me? Or do you agree with this position? Yeah, now there is some doubt. If I am not given the other side, definitely many of you would have agreed with me this is true.
Can you just repeat that sentence? Only verifiable things are?
Verifiable true claims are real. Reality of the nature of the reality. Real. The other things are not real. Then, from this perspective, we have two approaches in the research. One is deductive approach. The other one is inductive approach. I hope you are introduce these concepts to our students. When you have to stop you when I encroach the time, you tell me, because I'm sure that I will not be able to complete everything and go from here. But whatever I complete, is it clear for you? Do I clarify it to you? So that is enough, I am satisfied. Because if time encroaches, you will let me know. Now the other parts are very simple. We will be able to go faster. The deductive approach, we have a generalized claim. We have a theory. Based on that one, what we do is we will be creating hypothesis. Maybe hypothesis or hypothesis. There are multiple claims you are making. There will be hypothesis. Then, based on that hypothesis, what will you do? You make observations. An observation will be your data collections. You will be collecting the data from different points to verify what you have, your generalization is true. Then finally, you have confirmations. If your data corresponds to your claim, you accept the existing claim. So this will be part of realism, objectivism, positivism, or idealism, interpretism. Which position will be this? Deductive approach. This is known as deductive approach. Which position? Positivism, realism, objectivism. How many of you agree with that one? This one is realism, positivism, objectivism. What would be? Deductive approach. Yeah? This is a realism. Because data is observable, there is a claim, and you are verifying that claim. The other one is, we have already disputed there are as many realities as possible, as many people are there. Therefore, we cannot start from the general claim. So, one is from general to particular. The other one which says you cannot have that generalization. Therefore, you have to start from the particular observations. So, your observation starts from observations. Then you are observing certain patterns. Then you have a tentative hypothesis. Based on that tentative hypothesis, you are here. The second one is more critical and difficult. And when you know about the methodological dimension of this one, you will understand why I said that. So this one is known as induction. Particular reality, you are observing multiple particular reality, and based on that observations, you are making a tentative hypothesis, and you are proving that hypothesis, and you are making a theory. So one is induction, the other one is deduction. Deduction, you are starting from a generalized claim, generalized theory. There you are asked to frame theoretical framework. Different theories you are testing in your day-to-day engagements whether your theory is right. The other one, you have observed something on your own, you are making observations, and then you are consolidating that observations into hypothesis and verifying that one, and finally you are getting into theory. But people later, they said verification is not possible. Very difficult. Therefore, what is simple is falsifications. So you have null hypothesis in research. When you observe something which is not corresponding to the generalization, you can reject that one. Falsification of a claim, which is known as critical rationalism. The method of establishing a theory is not through verification, but through falsifications. Then what we say, problem of induction is you cannot move from evidence to hypothesis. That's very difficult. That's the claim of realistic, because how many observations you will be able to make before you make the generalization? If there is something do not correspond to your observations or your general claim, your theory is falsified. Therefore, the induction is not possible. The claim of a white swan. Normally we believe swans are white. Then we make a generalization. All swans are white. If you want to prove your claim, what you have to do is you have to not only survey, you may have to make a census study of swans. It is not possible. Therefore, verification is not possible. Therefore, you are doing falsifications. You say all swans are not white. So when you find an independent swan which is not white, your claim is verified. Or your claim is proved. The immediate thing is we use is all crows are black. So it is very difficult to prove that one. Then we say all crows are not black. If you are seeing a gray crow, you can make your claim validity and reliability of your study. The implication of induction is you have to take hypothesis. All your claims about reality, it should be tentative, it should be falsifiable, conjectural claim that cannot start with, which is called hypothesis. So falsifiable claims. In deductive approach, where do we start? We start with the hypothesis. We gather data and finally we verify our hypothesis. So all these diagrams I think you are doing in your day-to-day engagements here. Hypothesis anyway most of you are formulated, right? This hypothesis is relevant only if you are taking a positive, realistic, objective claim. If you are not taking that claim, you should not start with the hypothesis. That much understanding you need to keep in mind. If you are taking an idealistic constructive paradigm, subjective paradigm, you need not start with hypothesis. Already said hypothetical deductive method. Then what is constructionism? We are taking into account of the other paradigm, starting from the idealistic paradigm. Here we are contrasting two worlds. First one is natural world. Natural world is often mindless, generated by physical process, governed by cash laws. Then another reality is cultural social processes, which is dependent on mind, dependent on the social cultural scenario we are going to face. Generated by mental process, governed by meaning. That is constructionism. Therefore, reality is socially constructed. Reality is constructed by the researcher. When you talk about statistics, statistics, is it objective? Statistics is value neutral, or statistics is value based and subjective? We know that statistically we have a lot of truths presented before us. When you critically evaluate statistics, is it objective? Statistics are objective. Is it? Or statistics is subjective? Once we critically observe statistics, you need to realize, painfully realize, statistics can be interpreted by the researcher as he or she wants. That's why we get different developmental related statistics in our day-to-day engagements. Some people will say India is developed by looking at some reality. Some people will say India is still an underdeveloped country. You can justify your positions using statistics. You can use the same statistics and you can warrant your claims. Mindfully, in India, only 10% of people are gaining more than 25,000 rupees in a month. The average income of only 10% of people in India are at least 3 lakh or above annually. So 90% of the people in India do not earn some more than 3 lakh rupees. So based on that, you know the cost of living index now and how much you have to pay for your education, for all other requirements. 25,000 for a family. Can we call India is a developing country? So you can use statistics in multiple ways, and you can also construct your own reality and explain and also defend your own position. So in the constructive paradigm, I am not taking everything, but one philosophical position just want to highlight before you is this Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. It has got two different principles. One is language determinism. Our thinking is determined by language. Do you agree with that one? We have also a position which says language is the vehicle of culture. So the reality outside, is it determined by language?
Yes.
Yeah, you can have that position. Another position is linguistic relativity. There will be as many reality as possible, as many languages are there. So same reality you are seeing in Mangalore. When I look at from another language position or cultural position from Kerala or from Trivandrum, it will have its own shade and it will have its own explanation.
There's one statement which says if you have to think, you need a language. But
Yeah.
if you have to feel, you don't need a language.
Yes.
Is it correct?
You are right. If you want to think and make it invisible, you need language. But feeling does not require language. But still, we have to make research and finalize. Because people can have different positions and we cannot just negate people until we have substantial verifiable facts. And verifiable facts itself is in question. But we need to keep our minds and hearts open when we are looking at a reality. Otherwise, we will be very much orthodox. We have to be open, we have to be liberal, we have to see different standpoints and validate, and also we have to evaluate and take a position. So every time, as years go, I realize that I have many more things to learn. The famous statement by Aloyius, who wrote The Future Shock, who says, the illiterates of today are not the people who cannot read, who cannot write, who cannot speak. The illiterate of today are the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This changing world, rapidly changing world, teaches us that the reality is continually changing. Reality has different shades, different sides, which we have not comprehended. We have much more things to comprehend. So the consequence of that position is, first position is, language constructs reality. Second one is, there are as many minds as possible in this world as there are as many languages. Another important development in the area of philosophy paradigm is hermeneutics. That's also stepping from the constructive idealistic paradigm, subjective paradigm. The science of interpretation. Hermeneutics means the science of interpretation which will supplement the social construction of reality. So if I want to study the reality of Manoj, I have to come to your place, I have to relate with your people. Based on the data what I observe and collect, I have to make interpretations, taking into reality into comprehensive things. Then initial stage we have to bracket out ourselves from the reality. We have to stay out and make an objective observations too. So it's a blend of this one. Interpreting the text. There is a philosophical phrase used by Derrida that will be part of postmodernism, which says the text is dead, the author is dead, the text is alive. When somebody writes something in the textbooks and make it pass, that the author is dead. Author does not have much hope. But every reader can interpret the text as he or she feels it is intelligible. Similarly, the social world is a text. Each reader can make one's own interpretations, one's own conclusions, one's own theory based on what he observed, what he or she observed, if that person can give a scientific case. That's why I said you need to critically understand the ontological and epistemological positions to validate what you have found. If you are not able to do that one, you will not be able to. 10 minutes I have. That's fine. Thank you. So I was afraid within 1 minute I will be asked to conclude. Okay, fine. So that is a hermeneutic paradigm. The unearthing the meaning of people's action and social events and forms by interpreting its research. So in this paradigm, this is very important to realize. This is the interpreting paradigm. Then this already I have said about social construction of reality, interpreting sociality. So what we have to critically evaluate and decide is management is an objective reality. Do you say management is an objective reality? Is it an objective reality management in an organization when you go and if you are asked to study the management reality, is it an objective reality? No. So you have to take into account of multiple things, and methodology is very, very simple. So I'll go to the relationship between ontology, epistemology, and methodology. This is very critical. That's why I said, without understanding ontology and epistemology, you cannot take a methodological stand. If you are taking an ontology position of realism, you have an epistemological position of positivism and methodological kind of quantitative approach. Reality is measurable and observable. If you are taking ideological, idealistic paradigm, you have constructionism, Your epistemological stand is interpretatism, and your methodological stand is quantity. That which is clear. Thank you for this great opportunity. See you again.
Thank you, Father, for your insightful and thought-provoking address on philosophical foundation of research. We have most certainly benefited from your talk and will surely incorporate in our research. Now the floor is open for questions from the audience.
I thought I can go out. Now I have to face the most difficult part, questions. But you are welcome to ask me questions. Whatever I know, I'm happy to share with you. Or you can also contact me through Dr. Justin. He has got my contacts. We will also interact in the open bar and I'll join you for lunch. But any critical questions, I'm happy that Manoj had asked a number of questions. Those help me to explain the concepts a bit more clearly, I hope. Others are also welcome. Do you feel that this is very relevant, understanding ontological and epistemological positions? Will you read more? There are a lot of materials available. For management students, if you are reading Saunders, are you reading Saunders Business Research? That will give you philosophical positions elaborately. There is something called research audience, which gives you a framework. I think it is in the 9th chapter. This was a concluding slide. Mark M.K. Saunders. Read this chapter, you will be able to develop a philosophical framework. I think no more questions are there. You can move to the other one. Thank you.
On behalf of all gathered here, may I request our conference convener, Dr. Justin James, and a friend of Dr. Father Ranjit to hand over a memento to Dr. Father Ranjit. Our next speaker, Dr. Yatin Jokin, a PhD graduate in disaster studies from TISS Mumbai, brings 15 years of experience across government, academia, and the UN, specializing in disaster risk reduction and labor mobility. His work bridges theory and practice to address complex policy and governance challenges. We will now eagerly listen to Dr. Yatin Jokin. Over to the technical team.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Yatin. Thank you for receiving me today and giving me the opportunity to talk to you this morning. While I have wished to be there with you personally, I am glad that technology allows us to bridge distances and to engage in meaningful conversation. Today I'd like to talk to you about the evolving relationship between ESG and marketing. ESG, as you know, refers to environmental, social, and governance principles. But before we engage further on this pathway, I want to ask you a question, which I'm sure many of you have already reflected upon. Why has ESG suddenly become such an important topic in the corporate world? Of course, there are some obvious answers. To begin with, there are mounting regulatory pressures for sustainability reporting. Second, there is a shift in consumer behavior, especially among the younger consumers. This segment is increasingly willing to engage with companies based on their compliance with ESG principles, rather than just price and quality of products. There are mounting financial pressures on companies to engage in ESG because supply chain actors, including investors, are scrutinizing companies for their compliance before engaging with them. So it is obvious that ESG is not about communication. It is about strategy, it is about compliance, it is about accountability, and it is about building trust. But there is a major challenge. Marketing and ESG are very different principles. Marketing strategies are mostly short to medium term, looking for engagement, remembrance, and recall, whereas ESG is more long term. It requires system thinking, it requires operational change. Allow me to share an example of what may happen if an organization uses ESG as a branding tool without really engaging in ESG and complying to their ESG principles. For example, let's say a company projects itself as an environmentally friendly organization that produces and sells products that are eco-friendly. And it does so in, say, Mumbai. But when you go to the villages, it is doing the exact opposite. There is no compliance to any of the ESG principles. So here we see there is a gap between the brand narrative and the brand reality. But there are also many good examples, especially car companies that have managed to make technological strides in producing eco-friendly cars like electric cars and hybrid cars. When such initiatives are truly integrated in the corporate strategy and companies are making substantial efforts in producing and selling eco-friendly products, marketing becomes even more powerful. It becomes a force multiplier. However, projecting ESG compliance is difficult given the many different standards and level of disclosures. It presents an opportunity for marketing to fill the gap through a number of different options. Backing ESG compliance claims with data and progress updates. 2. Building the narrative of ESG compliance for the targeted audience. 3. Integrating ESG as a core brand identity. With this, I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting on ESG of marketing. Thank you to our resourceful speakers for their time and above all for providing us insights in Industry 5.0, 6.0 and beyond. Thank you participants for being a great audience. We have come to an end of the morning session. We will now break for lunch and resume at 1:30 for paper presentation, and students have to report at 1:20 at respective venues. Thank you one and all, and have a good day.
Yes. Rachana ma'am number. Rachana ma'am number. Rachana ma'am. Number send.
Positive in nature and
Hello ma'am. photographer is with you. Ask him, should I press this end stream? No, that laptop is open. No, I'll press end stream. Okay. End stream మొత్తం YouTube live. Next contract.
What are you doing there?
Ending the stream. Ending the stream. It's going live. It's still live, ma'am.
What's going still like? Did you inform Roshan?
Yeah, I called him. Maltij.
Let us now
What is the photo?